So, Kev, nothing good could ever happen for this team. Ever. It's like the moment you think it's going to be good, and it doesn't. And it's amazing because you're the reason why. I'm thinking, holy shit, you're right. Nothing good ever happens when you think that something good is going to happen. Tell the crowd what just happened.
I said in a different context that I don't really want to.
We don't have to go into the context, but we were talking about real life things.
You said Elon Musk might get deported. I don't know what this is. I said no, he won't, because anytime something that you think like, oh damn, wouldn't that be cool if that happened, doesn't happen. Nothing good will ever happen. So yeah, if you want to extrapolate that to the Bears, like yeah, I guess that's where the fuck we are now.
Apparently, that's exactly where we're at. You said that, and the first thing I thought about, I'm like, damn, we're about to record this podcast. I got to start, because yes, nothing good can ever happen when you think good things are happening. Just to give anybody who cares about the Elon Musk part, supposedly it was found that he might have been working illegally before he got his citizenship, and if that is true, then he can actually lose his citizenship.
He'll pay somebody a lot of money and stay here. Doesn't matter.
It's not going to happen. But anyway, back to the Bears. Totally nothing good can happen. So yeah, Kev started doing the rant that I did, and I'm like, I need to do the rant for the Bears. Nothing good can happen. What the hell was that game? What was the first 3 quarters of that game on offense? What was that last play? What was the last sequence for the defense? Nothing good can happen. It took me several days to recover from that loss, to recover from the depression that I felt deep in my soul from that loss.
You're attacking this with an energy that I was not expecting at all.
I'm also sick, for those who are listening. I just got back from Europe. We didn't have enough. Did you put up the episode that you recorded with Jill last week?
It's a long story. The answer is no. I'm going to put it up. Don't
worry. Don't.
I wasted her time. I did a bad job on the episode. I got to put the thing up.
It's okay. Don't. We're already late. So
I'm putting it up. I got to put it up.
I just need to tell people we didn't have an episode last week. And now we are back. I'm back from Europe. I'm back from my wonderful vacation. I got to watch one phenomenal game while I was there, as we decimated the Jaguars. Fantastic. Still half asleep during it, even though it wasn't in the morning for me while I was there, because I was just coming off a flight in which I did not get any sleep on. So I was up for like 30 something hours. That was great. I wish I could be talking about that damn game, but no, instead I come back the next day from my trip and I get to see oh shit. Got anything
about your trip? I mean,
trip was great. I talked about that all day. Had some phenomenal pasta. I'm very happy that I got to eat something other than like pizza and pasta. And you can do that in Rome. Don't get me wrong. You can do that in Rome. You can do that in Sorrento. You can do that everywhere we went. But why would you if you're visiting? So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a good like seafood dish. I feel like them Italians can do real well.
They could do real well, yes. And we did get that too. I'm not a seafood guy.
Ooh, I love seafood.
Yeah, I'm not a seafood guy. I like hold on. I don't like the type of seafood you would associate with there, but I love like sushi and like raw fish, and I like a shellfish a good bit. So
you don't want a nice branzino?
I don't know what is a branzino.
The only thing I know about it is that, or I could be saying the wrong thing, but I think the main thing to know about it is that when it's served, it's it's still got its whole face on it.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't need those little eyeballs looking up at me. Anyway, back to the Bears. Yeah, so that game sucked ass. I
want to stay away from the damn Bears. Oh, branzino is Greek. Oh no, it is Italian.
Italian. I did have a lot of lamb balls in Greece though, because we were there for a couple days. So that was fantastic. Got to see her dad watch the game in Greece. It was great.
I don't think the actual fish is called branzino, but I think the dish or the style
the type of dish
of the fish might be called branzino. I don't really want to get to the Bears. This is fucked because you have such a different energy. Like you're saying things that are basically correct, but you're not doing it in the correct tone, and now I don't know what to do because
just back it up to our normal tone. It's okay. I just wanted. It was a hot start. Okay, it was a hot start. I'm heated.
Let me say how I would have started the episode.
Oh man, yes.
And we'll decide which is better. No, we won't decide which is better. We'll decide which one is more of a jumping off point.
Okay, go on. God, I
You
can't
basically
laugh.
said it. You basically did already say this. There's nothing to talk about, and I think this is going to be, well, knock on wood, I think this is going to be the shortest episode ever because it's all already been talked about.
Yeah,
and it
what
hurts
else are we
too
going to
bad.
touch on?
It hurts too bad to talk about it, honestly.
Yep.
And also, I don't think either of us really knows that much about the Cardinals, so like, how are we going to do any of this? But
this was. I like Kyler. I can talk about Kyler and MHA.
Talk about Kyler. Everyone can talk. Yeah. I was going to say this for the preview, but I think the Cardinals, I think they're the most anonymous team in all of football. I think if I held your feet to the fire, you would be able to name by far the least Cardinals of any team in the league. And I think just a general person could maybe talk about like 3 or 4 of their players.
Yeah, you know what? We're not going to test that. We're just not going to because
we're not going to test it. It could be potentially too
damning, considering the fact that
you can name, but yeah,
that I liked them back in February, and I have bets of them from like January saying that they would win the division, and they're looking pretty good. I've got playoff bets on them. Considering I've got all of that, I still don't please. They're very anonymous for me.
Here's what I want to start with the Commanders. We can get into it a little bit. Not too much. So we can't record Mondays. We can never record the next day, especially after a loss, because I don't want to talk about football on Mondays. Tuesday's pushing it a little bit, but I'm usually good. This one, I still.
It's not because you're like footballed out. It's because the emotions from the game carry over. Correct.
I just don't want to think about the Bears. I don't want to talk about the Bears. I don't want to think about the Bears. This one goes into a very small pantheon. I'm curious what your if you maybe have a list off the top of your head of ones that there's nothing that they could do this Sunday that will make me get over what just happened. I could talk about it, and in fact, I talked about it a lot with you that Sunday night, which was nice of me.
I don't know. There was a point where I'm like, all right, no, can we stop, please? I just don't. When we're talking, you were a few beers deep, I think, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I had to delete a tweet because I hadn't seen the tweet, and I had to delete it because I was like, oh damn, I usually don't get drunk enough to make spelling errors, like ever. Like when I publish them, I proofread no matter how drunk I am. So I guess I was so drunk I didn't proofread. That's when I know I'm not in a good spot.
Yeah, see, I just do that when I'm sober on Twitter.
But also, a lot of the points I made to you were proven correct, honestly.
So stand. I mean, one of them was, the other half of it wasn't. Stevenson was the one that tipped the ball.
I didn't say he didn't tip the ball, or I may be too drunk to remember.
Yes, you did. And then the other part of it was.
Wait, a lot of guys tipped the ball though.
Hicks was supposed to be the rebound guy. You were correct. However, Stevenson was still out of position and should have been playing the body. He was supposed to be on Noah Brown on that. He's supposed to be boxing out on that with Noah Brown specifically. That was a yes. What? That's it. Those were the two things of the things we argued about that went back and forth for a second because I saw the clip of Stevenson.
We'll get into that goddamn part.
Yeah.
I made a lot of very cognate points for how drunk I was, is all I'm saying. And a lot of the stuff I probably said that was wrong, I don't remember because I'm drunk and I'm not going to read it back. Or I was drunk.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I'm having a different beer than usual. See that? That's my Oktoberfest.
Sam Adams. I had a Sam Adams.
My question though.
When the fuck was the last time I had a Samuel Adams?
Do you have maybe a pantheon, like a top 3 to 5 most painful of your life?
Who was it? Why am I blanking on his name?
Conti.
Yes, getting that against the Packers. That game sticks in my head very hard. The Super Bowl will always hurt, even though it wasn't like, the game didn't feel like it was really in hand at a certain point. But the Super Bowl will always hurt. The Eagles double doink still sits very fresh in my mind and hurts a ton. That one is up there though. I think that's top 3. It probably beats out the Super Bowl loss because I can barely remember it from when I was a kid.
Okay.
We were kids, but we were like in high school, but I barely remember it.
There's one that I'm still not over, and I think this one is gonna stay neck and neck with it. It's none of the playoff ones. The worst loss in my lifetime is a 2008 middle of the season game against the Atlanta Falcons when Kyle Orton threw a seemingly game-winning touchdown pass with like 8 to 10 seconds left. God, I can't even remember the receiver. It might have been Marty Booker. I can't remember who it was, but it was in the corner of the end zone. I think a little toe drag action, unbelievable. And it was like the first moment where like you could think like, damn, the 2008 Bears are like good. Like we're going to make the playoffs. Wow. Because we were not expected to be very good that year. That was the Orton Rex Grossman quarterback competition year. The Falcons are down either 1 or 2. About 8 seconds left. A little more than that. Because what we do is we want to avoid Jarius Norwood, their kick returner, because he had returned a kick for a touchdown or almost scored a touchdown earlier that game. Lovey elects to squib kick.
Terrible squib.
Squib kicking when the team needs a field goal and is only down by 2 and does not have enough time to get up the field is the worst thing you could possibly do. Kick the ball as far as you can.
Yeah. Back then, too.
Or take your chances with Norwood again and tackle him.
Remind me. Back then, we hadn't backed up the kickoff, right? It was still a little further up, wasn't it?
It was a little further. It was, and you know, Robbie Gould's leg is what it's always been. He wasn't a guaranteed touchback by any means, but like
you still boom that bitch.
You can't squib it. Squibbing it is not an option because the next play, a rookie, Matt Ryan, buys time. What little time he had, finds Michael Jenkins for about 25 yards. Oh, they also had no timeouts. 25 yards on the sideline. Play is reviewed. Call stands. Jason Elam hits about a 53-yard field goal as time expires. The Falcons had 8 seconds, I believe, from the time the squib kick was over to get at least 25 yards. We were not guarding the sidelines very well, which is a nice foreshadowing of another problem from Sunday's game. That one will never. I think that's the last time that I shattered a remote. And it was my roommate's remote. I was in college, and he, I guess rightfully so, made me leave that very moment, walk to Walgreens, and get a new remote. That's the worst loss of my lifetime. I think Eagles is number 2. Double doink is probably number 2. But what I want to say is this game, this one, it's going to take some time for me to know for sure. I think this might be the worst one ever. I think it might surpass that Falcons game.
I have one more I want to throw out there really quickly. I know I'm ruining it by doing this. NFCCG against the Packers.
But see, these are... So, I mean, your list is
your list. Last second. These are not last second losses. I understand that. These were in that game especially. But that hurt, man.
Oh, I have a whole take on that.
Sucked ass.
4th and 1, we handed off to Chester Taylor. Converts the first down, new set of downs. We have a little more time to drive with Caleb Haney. That was the most obvious play action. Take a shot at the end zone that you're ever going to get because you only get one shot. I was saying it beforehand. Saying it afterward, everyone's whole stadium's cheering. Chester Taylor got 2 yards. Woo! Drive continues. We're not going to score now, man. That one hurt.
That one hurt a lot. I think it's different, but that one hurt a lot.
It is of course different,
and it leads to like Aaron Rodgers for a Super Bowl. So I'm just throwing out there.
I would say that is the worst. I don't think that's the most painful. I think that is maybe the worst loss the Bears have ever had. Slightly different, in my opinion, just because of the consequences of it. And certainly the rhetoric and then how things went from there for both teams.
Yep.
And going into the future. It was also the most important game in Bears history, and I think undoubtedly playing the Packers for a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and they lost it.
Yep.
The game could have gone however, and it would have been top 10 most painful regardless. And so, but my thing is, what these two games have in common is just stupid, avoidable shit. Like, the one thing I could say to Cody Parkey's defense is that he's a kicker, and sometimes kickers just miss kicks. It happens. There's not much else you could have done. You got into field goal range, and he missed the kick. That Falcons game could have been won by a kid who knows how to play Madden. This Commanders game could have been won by a kid who knows how to play Madden. Having me sit there drunk in a bar, which I'm not going to do again this season for two reasons. Got too drunk, and obviously bad luck. Even I am saying exactly what to do. If I know what to do, why don't the Bears do it?
This is what I will say. It doesn't. This loss does not come down to that last series. Like, yes, to the fans, to the drama, to the action. When that game gets to those last few plays, it comes down to those last few plays. However, this game wasn't just lost by coaching. This game was lost by execution. Like, the players aren't lying when they say they need to execute. There are several plays in which you're sitting there and you're like, okay, just get the shit done. The offense was completely dead for how long?
Nobody in the world is going to say that the Bears were the better team.
Yep. We didn't deserve that one. Let's be real.
But I will disagree with you because the score was 15-12, and they needed to defend the easiest play in the world to win the game.
Right, but they also could have done several other things throughout the. It did come down to it, sure.
Every close game, every
game is not won or lost. The game is not won or lost by one play. Does
the Bears could have simply scored 8 more touchdowns? I agree. They could have scored 8 more touchdowns and won the game by 70.
Yes,
that math does not work.
I'm throwing that out there though.
But they were fucking up by 3. That's the
I agree with you.
People are always like, it wasn't actually Steve Bartman's fault. Yeah, but we're not. It kind of was.
No, it kind of was.
That's a hot take. People aren't going to like that. Don't torture the guy, to be clear, but it was his fault.
There was a lot of plan. What I'm trying to say is cool. Let's blame coaching. Let's blame Tyreek Stevenson and stuff like that. There's a lot of blame to be given around. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Caleb had a terrible game. Wasn't as bad.
I already told you I disagree. I told you I disagreed.
He had a bad game
drunkenly that night, and I disagree.
Let me back up. He had a bad game.
There were specific
times where there were specific times on RPOs where he decides to pull the ball instead of just handing it off, and he's not sure if he should be pulling the ball or handing it off. The reason why he throws it over the head on that one screen pass is because he's not sure. He goes to turn, he's like, and then decides to throw it away. That's a throwaway. Then don't freaking grab on an RPO. Do not, if you're not sure, you don't pull.
That's bad. There were bad plays. I just think in total.
And I'm just saying they build up. The bubble screen, the bubble to DJ Moore on 4th down was another RPO in which he pulls because he sees the guy off. The guy creeps last second. You've got to take a second. You got to take a double peek real quick. You got to use your cadence as your weapon. Just throw it out there. And he's a rookie. These are rookie mistakes. These are mistakes. He's going to learn from them, right? But I'm not saying that would have been the conversion. You convert that, you continue a series where we're going to be on the plus side of the field. So, like, what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying to kill Caleb here. I'm using Caleb because I know people will be willing to defend him instead of somebody else where they'll be like, yeah, he's right. Screw that guy. I'm using Caleb because I understand that he's a rookie quarterback. He's going to make these mistakes. What I'm trying to say is a lot of people made mistakes throughout this game. It was a bad game, I think, all around. Even our defense. You want me to be honest? Those first 3 quarters were also an issue because our defense couldn't get off the field. Yeah, they bend, don't break. Only give up a field goal. Great. When the time of possession is 10 minutes to the favor of the Commanders and your offense cannot get in a rhythm, that's an issue.
Yeah, that's a problem, but the Commanders are a really good offense.
And I hear you, and they played really well. I'm not trying to there were third down situations. They were third down situations in which on 3rd down and like 13 plus, you're giving up a first down at Jaden Daniels because you're not pursuing correctly. You're playing very passively off of him once he passes the line because you're scared he's going to make you look stupid.
Sure.
And that's not how you attack.
For sure.
And I can get into details on that before anybody's, well, you might juke you out of your shoes. Yeah, bite the fucking ball and go at it. Keep your eyes on his hips. Play aggressively. If you play it off, that's when you give him room to move.
Your energy is insane.
Huh?
Your energy is insane.
I'm back from Europe, baby.
What did you learn
over there? I'm trying to say is there were a lot of reasons we lost this game. There were a lot of plays that happened. It was a bad game, man. It was mind-numbingly bad. It drove me fucking nuts to watch because there were just so many instances in which I'm sitting there like, you're failing me. You are failing me in this play.
It was bad, but when they came back and took the lead, I was proud of them boys. I really was. I thought not an aesthetically good win, but I was like, God damn, this is an awesome win. Like this is a God, you could build so much on this. This is huge.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, it hurts.
I get
bad.
that, and then to have that ripped away from
nobody in the world would say that they played well. I will not say that Caleb played well. I just don't really. I'm not comfortable calling it bad. I'm comfortable saying some bad plays, but I'm also like, man. First of all, Dan Quinn was in his absolute bag, so it'll be released at some point. But I was like, they play the same shells as the Jaguars, basically. Like the most similar defense in terms of shells as the Jaguars. A lot of 1 and 2. Like they're not going to throw much at Caleb that he hadn't seen before. Well, holy shit, they did everything at him that he hadn't seen before. The shells were the same, but like, I sent you a tweet from your guy with the sim pressure, the cross splits from the middle linebackers, then bringing 2 slots in to play double rat in the hole, and then cover one behind it. It's like, and cover everything. Like, I want my first overall pick, whose creation ability is, obviously one of his selling points. I'd like him to figure it out, but I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I would do. Like, if I had talent. I don't. It's hard to be like.
I understand.
Their defense was playing out of their minds.
Remember what I said?
Maybe because of how much rest they had. Maybe because of how much that rest they had. I'm not.
Remember what I said a couple weeks ago before this game? It was before this game, and I said, "What if they're the Broncos defense?" And you're like, "What does that even mean?" And I'm like, "The Broncos." The Broncos defense was one of the worst defenses in the league coming into the game against us. Last year they gave up like 70 points to Miami, and then they were giving up considerable amount of points, and then JF goes off on them for a half, and they hold strong in the second half. All of a sudden, they become one of the best defenses in the league from that game on. What if the Commies figure it out? I mean, Dan Quinn is a new coach.
They did, but they weren't even winning in ways that I would expect Dan Quinn to win in. I mean, credit to Dan Quinn. He's a smarter man than, many other DCs. But I don't know. I just didn't see it coming. I didn't expect him to lean so hard into those, skies coverages and sim pressures and just the kitchen sink. He doesn't usually play that way. He's an evolved Gus Bradley, I think I said last time. And so that he took it out of took the responsibility a little bit off the players to execute and just do their jobs as he normally would. He took matters into his own hands and just, God damn, it worked so well. And sure, they could be the Broncos if Dan Quinn keeps calling plays like that. Sure.
What are your thoughts on Waldron in this game?
As you know, I was drunk watching it.
I thought it was fun. I gotta be honest with you.
I'm really, really getting sick of the. So we're scripting plays now. So now we even have less of an excuse to come out so flat with such predictable bad play calling on the first drive. it's really becoming an issue for me. In general, like, no, I don't remember any bad play calls, but it
missed
seems
a
like
throw on that drive, if I remember correctly, that would have kept it going, like, pretty badly. And when you only got 3 downs on a couple passing downs, it's hard for me to sit there and be like, is that on Waldron, even though we didn't keep moving? He needs a. Here's my issues. I want some more easy targets.
that's the
Where
thing.
did the quick game go? There's no easy button. There wasn't in this game. There was no easy button in this game.
There very seldom is, unless it's a screen to Swift. Basically, they don't.
Yep.
I can't believe it, because he is a McVay disciple, so to speak. He doesn't scheme things up for receivers to get open regardless of their skill. Basically,
I think that's the issue, though.
It's obnoxious to me.
I think that's the issue, though, is it's as if he's using the skill against him. He's got DJ Moore playing the X consistently. DJ Moore doesn't play well with a jam up on him. You got Rome over there. He's spread her off at like a Y as like a move, right? Throw him over, or like a Z. Sorry, I always confuse myself.
Also, the routes Keenan runs, he's playing in the correct spot. The routes he runs are the routes that the other two should be running.
Yeah. Why is he running a deep route?
Keenan does not need to be going more than 10 yards, man.
Yeah. Right. Why is he running deep? Why is he attacking even like mid intermediate? Why is he doing that?
It feels like a misuse of the personnel. It almost feels like he's like, our receivers are great. They can get open. Caleb is really good at reading the whole field. We don't need those cheap, easy button plays that could blow up in our face and go horribly wrong. We can, run a big boy offense. Oh man, he's a rookie. Like, one thing he needs, and like most quarterbacks need, he's got to feel the ball leave his hand and be caught by a receiver. For 3 quarters, I can't imagine how difficult it is to have so few chances and to not throw the ball and have a receiver catch the ball for 5 yards or 50 yards, whatever it is.
3 for
40 passing yards. I don't know, man. It was
like 3 for 12 or something, 3 for 8. It wasn't. Give him some chances, dude. But that was the other thing too, is Caleb would have chances on his dropbacks, and he'd swallow it. There was a little bit of a Justin Fields play where it's like, I'm just gonna run. Like, there isn't anything there. I just need to run. I'm just gonna take the hit.
I think he was unsure of what he was saying, for sure. And that's not, his eyes were not. That doesn't mean that. When I say I don't think he played badly. Like, that's not a defense. Like, he saw a lot of things. He wasn't sure what he was saying, and I don't blame him. He's a rookie, and he was seeing some crazy stuff.
He ended the game phenomenally. Just let me be clear. Like, what he showed was something you don't see from a Bears quarterback. He led 2 drives, two drives for game-winning touchdowns. One of which should have been. I'm not going to get into if you should be handing the ball off to Doug Kramer. I'm sorry, if you played football, you know how easy it is to take a damn handoff.
Yeah, people are showing a little bit of their ass. Like, can I just say, it would have been cool if Kramer scored.
Yeah.
And if he scores, makes me be like, that's kind of cool. Like, you don't expect it to go that badly.
Right. But if he scores, people are like, what a genius play. Oh, people are going to be like, we're calling that. There's going to be a wrinkle. They did the wrinkle. Oh my God, he scored. That's awesome.
I'll say this.
But because the worst comes out of it, you're an idiot.
Right. I don't like the results-based criticism.
All right, result-based criticism can go fuck itself. It's an easy handoff to take. Swear jar, I think I'm at 3, by the way. It's an easy to take a handoff. You practicing a handoff 35 times. He's been playing football for God knows how long. He knows how to take a handoff. Stop. Go on.
I'm saying I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't agree. You agree. But sorry, what were you going to say?
The results-based criticism is weird to me. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe whip that out later. Also, if I'm being honest, the wrinkle to the Kramer that we've been showing didn't feel like a handoff to Kramer. It felt like a pass to Kramer.
Right, I agree. That's a better wrinkle. That is a better wrinkle.
But whatever. They scored, and I don't know. I mean, technically, they could have scored again, and they could have.
That would have been the time they could have scored again.
But the game flow probably was not going to work that way.
And you're not in the situation that you would have been in had you score there. Throwing that out there. So again, the game comes down to so many different parts. All that said, we should probably finally talk about that last sequence of plays and just go on to the Cardinals from there. Because I don't think there's anything else we want to touch on. Is there?
The last two, they should have fenced off the sideline. They got no timeouts. You got to fence off the sideline a little bit.
Okay. I want to come back to this because I want to talk about Flus at the end. And then on the last one, obviously, Steven said we already talked about it. You cannot be in that position. Now, I want to talk about Flus. You can't be doubling down on your decisions, man. I can't have Kevin Byard tell the media, yeah, Flus and I had a conversation about it. I would have told him I would have done this differently by playing press, because you have other people off, right, just in case the Hail Mary is there. And then if you're playing press, you're able to defend the sideline, right? You're playing press with outside leverage on that second to last play. I can't have him say, I talked to him about it. He obviously has different feelings. And then for Flus to basically come up and defend his decision again after it works, legitimately not realizing the situation that you're in. You are too far away from them to throw a Hail Mary. The worst thing that could happen with them with no timeouts is they catch it short of the end zone, and then you got a gang rally and tackle. And if you don't, then we lose, right? But there's no way he's getting it into the end zone. You have a chance to rally up and tackle the guy. Yep. Or he's down, and somehow they get up there and spike the ball for a field goal. Like, I'm not sure that's going to happen with the amount of time that they left. Maybe. That's possible, I guess. I don't think so.
It feels
way out of the question.
Feels almost impossible.
So when the situation
and also Daniels wouldn't have been interested in that anyway. He's not going to take that risk.
So when the situation dictates that they need some more yards before they can even throw the Hail Mary and get into the end zone properly, why are you playing the Hail Mary? But then on top of it, fine, you made a mistake. I don't care. If he makes a mistake, learn from it, right? People learn from their mistakes. We're humans. Don't come out and show me that you're not learning from it. That's what bothers me the most. That's what bothers me. Don't come out and talk and say, I still defend that decision. Probably should have done it. I think he finally comes out and says there were things that were on me at the end of the game. Like 3 days later. It's like, who had to talk to you about this? Like, how hard-headed did you feel? Like, you were already talked to by Byard, obviously, at the end of the game about how he would have played that differently before you had talked the first and second time about it. Why did it take so long to realize that that's what you're supposed to do? Why is it so hard to take? You are the head coach. You should not be throwing your players under the bus. However, you should be taking accountability for everything. Dan Campbell for the Lions has his locker room because anytime he feels like he makes a mistake, he goes out there and he's honest about it.
Yeah, he'll do it even if he didn't make a mistake.
Yeah. And that bothers me. It's less about the play and the decision because God, we're human, man. We're human beings. There are situations that you're not ready for.
I've gotten mad. I keep getting mad about small things that speak to me about society at large recently. Yesterday was because my TV does not have a button on it, and that really made me think about society.
It's made worse because your remote works for both TVs that you have in that room. So now anytime you have to use it, both of them turn on.
Whatever.
Sorry, go on.
The just the human. I think we've talked about this probably, so I don't need to get into it. But just the human condition to not just take the L, like. Just say sorry. I fucked up. Like,
sorry.
I just don't understand why can't people say, "I'm sorry, I fucked up. I fucked that up. That was wrong." It's, and again, get very societal. It is a very Republican ass trait. I gotta say, it's like it's never admit that anything was wrong. Never have a sense of humor about yourself. And granted, this is not the time for Eberflus to have a sense of humor about it necessarily, but just like some introspection, some like, frankly, how is this going to look to everybody? That's my biggest issue. It's kind of even less about the coaching, the actual coaching job. It's just how am I going to come across to people right now in this press conference? Oh, people are going to think I'm like really cool for saying
Yeah.
I completely screwed that up. I did this. I was looking at the
You
clock. I
already
did this.
understand it.
I had a lot of stuff going on. But I own that. That's no excuse.
That's
I have to be better. And that's like, we're all fucking applauding him, being like, you know what? He's still kind of a bad coach, but damn, he really took. And that truly could be applied to many political moments in my life of like,
it's not just political. That should be applied all over the place. People,
sure, it's everything, but not
yeah,
it's everywhere now, and it's always been a part of the the human condition, but it is so public in a way that bothers me so much now.
I know, I agree. People appreciate humility more than people understand, and doubling down, not taking L's, refusing to admit mistakes, typically tends to the exact opposite. We do not appreciate that at all.
If you don't want to admit that you were wrong, say I was drunk. I don't remember being wrong. I think I was right about everything we talked about.
Yeah, like that. But no, people debating football, I don't give a shit about, right? But like,
yes, but also I'm
work,
joking. I truly don't remember. I was probably wrong about everything. I just remember having some good
you're
points
fine.
that were correct.
There are things in life in which I've seen people double down on mistakes and then act like the other person's the issue, et cetera, et cetera. You have to sit back, you have to take a moment, understand that's not always a good look. Even if it's just, I'm not sure, I need to think about it. Right, Flus? I'm not sure, I need to think about it. When you say I need to go back to the tape when you're trying to avoid it with other players, use that with yourself. Be like, I'm not sure, I need to think about that situation a little bit deeper. I understand what you're trying to say, and maybe when I think about it, I might realize where I made my mistakes.
Now,
It's a learning opportunity.
Here's my biggest problem with the Hail Mary, and it's different than what everybody else is saying. And honestly,
Well, hold on. Before you
define
go there, because I want to say something everybody else is saying. Take a damn time out, but continue.
so that's a part of what I'm like. I don't necessarily care.
I do. I'll explain why in a
Why?
second. Why?
No,
Okay.
just go ahead and explain why now.
Because it doesn't matter if you don't see Stevenson isn't set up. There's no you do not. Okay, one, going quickly and at tempo typically only helps the offense. It doesn't help a defense. You have pass rushers that could probably use, and granted it was only a couple plays. Give them a second, right? They just went on a nice pass rush. Give them a damn second, right? On top of that, there's no reason you don't roll them over. You lose your timeouts that you don't use. You have 3. There is no reason not to take a quick timeout and make sure everyone is mentally checked in. Make sure everybody knows their responsibility. There's no reason not to. There's absolutely none. Take a second, slow the game down for the offense, right? Slow it down for your guys. Let them get a quick breather and ready to go, and make sure that they're mentally aware of what's going on. Several guys have come out. Jalen Johnson said we probably would have benefited from a timeout because I don't think we knew our responsibilities. You have a bunch of backups in there as well, too. You have Elijah Hicks, and you have Blackwell.
Too. Blackwell's probably out there. Actually, why the fuck would Blackwell be out there?
No,
If
who
he
was
was
it?
out there, that's another issue I got.
Who was it? No, who's in there for Kyler at that point?
Blackwell, but why would he be in Hail Mary defense? What does
Anyway,
he do? What is he doing?
anyway, you've 2 people who are working with the first team defense that probably aren't used to working with the first team defense. I'm sure they get some reps, maybe not for this. I don't know. Make sure people are aware of what the hell is going on. That's it. Like, take a second, give them a beat. Don't let the offense move quickly after getting that. Don't let them have any kind of rhythm. Give your guys as much time to prepare for it. There's no reason not to.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree. I just I kind of still say maybe there is a reason not to. Like, I don't know. In hindsight,
Then voice
hindsight
it.
is what it is.
Then when you're asked why not take a time out there, voice it.
Would I have called a timeout? Well, because truly the answer could be like, well, they know their jobs. I trust that our guys practice this situation a lot better than the Commanders did.
Well, that's what his answer is.
And if the Commander, I'm not, I'm off the flu stuff. I'm off the flu press training stuff. He's going to be bad at it, whatever. If the answer is I trust our guys, we've practiced this. I don't know if the Commanders have practiced this. I don't want to give them any more time to talk this over. Fine. That would work for me. If that had anything to do with any logic.
I mean, yeah. I disagree, but I would understand. Here's my thing. Again, if that was
Really,
your reasoning,
truly,
let me quickly.
because of the butterfly effect, anything differently is the correct answer in hindsight. I don't.
Sure.
I wasn't screaming at the TV, take a timeout. I'm just saying I don't. It didn't occur to me at the moment, so I'm not going to pretend it did now.
Yeah, that's fair. Here's my thing. If he makes that mistake at the moment, I get it. I get it. Like I've already said this. I don't mind him making mistakes at the moment because we're human. It happens. Even the best coaches, man, people are sitting there killing him for this. Like, no, a good coach wouldn't do that, man. You should see how some of the best coaches handle their situations. Because ask Kyle Shanahan how many games he probably should have won by now that he's lost due to bad coaching decisions. Even the best coaches.
I would say almost every coach would have been guilty of something.
Yes.
Similar to what Flus did.
At least like once or twice a year, you see this shit from like every single coach.
I mean,
I know that Bears fans only watch Bears games. Maybe watch some more of the NFL. Trust me, this shit happens all the time. It's funny when it's not your team. It really sucks when it is. Like I said, Dan Campbell has apologized for shit.
It makes me so mad when I see stuff like, "Oh, the Bears are the laughing stock of the NFL." No, we're not. We're 4-3. We're kind of good still. We're not the laughing stock. There are like 12 better laughing stocks almost at all times than the Bears.
The New York Jets won yesterday. They're still a freaking laughing stock in comparison.
Way bigger laughing stock.
Anyway, pay attention to the rest of the NFL before you sit there and you want to throw out shade on shit when it comes to
the Cardinals might beat us on Sunday. They're a way bigger laughing stock because of the Cardinals. They had to leave our city because of how big of a laughing stock they are.
Now, the thing is, though, I come back to just don't double down on it. If it's a mistake, if one of your guys says it, right, to me and says, I wish we had time to set up, then the next time you get asked after you hear about that, say, you know what, I realize now that I made a mistake. I probably should have given our best time.
We've made that point.
I know. That's another one though. He's just there were met multiple times in which he did it, and that's what bothers me. It's like not a single one of those are clicking, or are you just being stubborn, and that bothers me. That's why.
I guess I have two issues, and it all comes back to the actual defense that was played on that play. I am a believer in making sure he gets the ball out of his hands sooner than later. I understand with a mobile guy like Daniels.
You're not the only one saying this, by the way.
Maybe if you're sending 5. No, this is not. I'll get to the part that I don't think anybody else is saying. Maybe sending 5 is a little risky because they have 5 offensive linemen, maybe an extra blocker in. Maybe the math works out, and now you're even more fucked. On a Hail Mary, I send 5. As a rule, I send 5. I definitely send more than 3.
I never send 3. I want to be clear here. You never send 3. I think 3 is stupid. Why do you give them all day? Right? Having more people back there just leads to more chaos, in my opinion.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Yep. That's why I send 5.
Yep. So I only send 3.
It's like
never send 3.
In hockey, when they pulled the goalie before on a delayed penalty and it's 6-on-5, I'm like, just get to the power play and make it 5-on-4. Let's spread the ice a little more. There's too much shit going on.
There's too much shit.
Get it? There's not really a reason not to, but just like I'm just like,
the point of it, I think, is
this isn't going anywhere. Like you're probably gonna pass it backwards in your own net. Just get to the power play. Yep. It's the same concept. I want less stuff going on. It's a lot easier to understand what everybody's doing. And in the meantime, you gain the benefit of rushing the throw.
Yep.
That's why I say 5, personally.
That's my big thing is you want to rush the throw. You don't want to give him especially on as far as he is, right? Rushing the throw will lead to better results because he might be way off. Who knows? I don't know.
Right. The other point that I made to you, I don't like this guy's our savior. This is the tip man. This is the guy. Just cover the receivers and coach your deep men, or coach all of them to get under the ball and intercept it. You can catch a tipped pass. You cannot catch an intercepted pass. Intercept the ball. That is how I was taught. I fully believe in that.
I fully believe in tipping the ball down and not tipping it up. I don't know
that can get fucking messy.
Heard that. I've never heard that. I'm not going to get into it. I've never heard that. Intercept. Good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. When you've got that many bodies and that many arms on you, good luck intercepting the ball.
Well, Adam, it's about the mechanics of it as well. It's, do I go up and do this, and if I hit the thing wrong, it's got backspin and it goes somewhere fucking crazy.
Again, it goes
go
back
up and grab the ball with your hands.
It goes back to, you do not touch it if you cannot get a full hand on it. Tyreek Stevenson, I think, was rushed. I sent you the text. Tyreek Stevenson rushed himself because he realizes
that's why.
You know how deep into the play he notices that the play's going on? They're at the 30-yard line already. The receivers.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can get. I don't know how much I can get into Tyreek. It's been done to death. I just want to make it clear. The goal is not to get an interception. I'm saying my goal is not to get an interception. It is to, the coaching point is, I'm having a hard time verbalizing this now.
I've never heard the coaching point of intercepting
the coaching point is, you're more likely to leave the ball the fuck alone if you can't intercept it. Don't tell him to tip it, because once you get into tipping it, it's like, oh, I think I can probably tip this. I could probably get this with my fingertips. Right. And that's when shit goes wrong.
The tip point really does need to be, if you cannot get a full mid on it, you're not supposed to touch it. If you can get a full mid on it, go for it.
So why not? In my opinion, why not just turn that into just intercept the ball?
If you're talking about trying to do a one-hand grab, right? Because if I'm trying to intercept the ball, I'm going up with, God, I have some badass wrists. I'm going up with two hands, right? Like,
see, in my mind, I got it. In my mind, I trust, if I'm a coach, hypothetically, I trust my players not to be so stupid to understand that I'm not asking them to make an Odell Beckham catch here, or a Garrett Wilson catch, as it may now be known. I am saying, if you cannot intercept the ball,
but right, what I'm trying to say is, but if I can't get two hands on it,
it gets a little more confusing when you're like, if I
there.
can't do that, so make it get two hands on it, which might as well be intercept the ball. If you can't get two hands on it, leave it alone.
But then I'm not defending. You're not getting as much reach when you're trying to go up with two hands. Just saying. I've never heard that coaching point before. Just throwing that out there.
I'm not going to say you have no point. I will say I've heard it. It was coached to me. And also, it exists. I mean, you could look it up. You could look it up. It wasn't there, but yeah.
No. Okay. I was going to say, the probably had better coaching at the schools you were at than the schools that I was at. But
definitely not. But I believe in it. I believe in it conceptually. I would coach it that way.
All right. Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to talk about this game anymore. The last thing I want to say is the Stevenson point, and that's, guys, back the fuck off. That's it. People make mistakes.
Oh, I agree. I agree they make mistakes, but I would say just like, don't be like that that Twitter guy that I was giving all sorts of shit to when I was drunk. To you, not to him. Oh, I told him to use his blue check responsibly that he fucking paid for. Loser.
Real quick, my favorite blue check against argument is like, oh, you can't afford $8. No, I can. Trust me, I afford a lot of other subscriptions. Why the fuck would I pay it?
So I have $8 times 10. I have $80 right now in my bank account. $80.
That's it. I have a whole $80.
That'd be somebody's probably already done it. That'd be so funny to say to somebody, $8 times 10. Right?
Sorry, go on.
But I get, I also get being a little reactionary and stupid during the game, but like,
oh, I did it. Trust me, during the game, I did it. I have tweets. I didn't delete them either.
But like, cut Stevenson if he ever plays another game. Shut up. I get it. You're being reactionary, but also you're like on that. He's probably still on that train. I don't know. I might have blocked him. I don't know. He's such a stupid ass. I can't believe I ever liked that guy.
I had the point of Stevenson can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And I was really pissed off until like, I think I was texting you, just play Charles Smith like next week, because I was pissed off. At the point, I get it. But 3 days later, when people were like, he needs to be held accountable, why the hell would your head coach throw him under the bus further? Also, like, especially when you see how guilty. Like, do you guys understand what it means to be accountable in the NFL? Do you?
Right, like what is,
guy.
What is the suggested action? Here's two things that bug me. This coach never makes halftime adjustments. That's I think I've already said this, but that is thrown around by every fan that doesn't know football in the world. It is also thrown around by fans that do know football and may have some specific suggestions. But that is said about every single coach, and nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about.
No.
They just see they played bad in the first half, and they're also playing bad in the second half, so this coach is making halftime adjustments. Right. The second one is there's no accountability on this team. What specifically are you asking for? Do you want Tyreek Stevenson to be benched because he made a mistake? What does that look like? Like what let's say we don't have Terrell Smith, for example. What does that look like for the Chicago Bears? How is that helpful to us? Because at the end of the day, being accountable is a means to an end of making the Chicago Bears a better team. More accountability could lead to better results. What could lead to worse results is by putting a bad player in instead of a good player. Mm-hmm. So what are you asking for? Are you asking for him to be benched?
I'm fine if they go on and do like a ceremony.
The nebulous you.
So Hogue made this point, and I get this. He's like, if they go and do a ceremonious benching for starting, right? He doesn't get to start, but then he's in. After that, he's like, fine, I get it. He's like, but why would you bench him? This was Hogue's point. He's like, but why would you bench him? It's going to be much worse, right?
What if they score a touchdown on that play?
That's fair. That's very fair.
That's like when this is what bothers me. When a player dies and they go 10 men on the field. I'm kidding. That's imagine having a problem with that.
So remember that Bills and Bengals game? They just kept playing with the. That's fucked up.
No, truly, those moments have brought tears to my eyes. I'm kidding, but sorry, I gotta train my little guys here.
No, I was just gonna say just quickly. Here's my thing. That was like, that's fine to hold them accountable in the locker room. They do not need the last thing that any coach in the NFL does. Again, it goes back to, do you watch anything else outside of the Bears? Charge it. I'll keep talking. Do you need anything else outside of watch anything else outside of the Bears? What fucking coach? And again, I'll throw another tip. I'll throw in the story jar. What coach in the NFL has ever thrown a player under the bus for making even dipshit mistake? It was a dipshit mistake for making dipshit mistakes without that player having a history of making mistakes consistently.
Right? Like, is that the desire? Is that the desire to?
Because yes, that's what they want. We want, that's what they want. They literally want him to just fucking Salem witch trial this shit and also criticize them in public. That doesn't occur. This is their brother. You lose the locker room if you do that. You lose the locker room because the players sit there and they say two things. One, that is unfair to him. He just made a mistake. Right? Listen to how they're talking about him. They're talking about the fact that they need to lift him up. He made a mistake. They need to lift him up. This is what the players are saying. Two, that's her brother. Two, they then realize if I make a mistake, which is very easy to happen because, again, they're human. If I make a mistake, am I also going to get treated like this? As a head coach, you typically defend your guys. You give them the position to be able to play freely. The moment you start pointing fingers to the public and start putting that spotlight on them is the moment that they don't get to play as freely and the moment that they look at you and they say, what the fuck? So yes, while the public knows that it was Tyreek Stevenson's fault for doing that, he doesn't need to go out there and decimate his name in the honor of accountability. He knows he made a mistake. He feels like absolute ass for making that mistake. Doing anything more just makes the players go, "What the fuck, coach?"
So I don't know if he feels like absolute ass for making that mistake, but
sounds like it from what we're hearing from the inside. But go on.
Sure, it seems like it, and again, if the desire, is throw the guy under the bus, like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? Why would we want that?
It's something that bugs me. I'm really sick of how stupid some people are about. Like, do you pay attention to the rest of the league? That is my question for you. If you want to talk about the Bears, pay attention to the rest of the league and offer up advice that the rest of the league would match the rest of the league as well.
And again, my only access to the common man now is SCO, and even he's a little bit on one in ways that I disagree with. And actually, in a like, This is maybe the wrong part of it to have brought it up on, because I don't think he's one of these people. But he's been on this Flus thing for what truly does feel like it's gone on a little too long. Like nobody thinks Flus is doing a great job, but I would occasionally stop talking about it personally. Anyway, my point, I've made it already, I feel like, but it's just there needs to be a means to an end of what you're trying to accomplish. Maybe it is good to call out a guy in public if the team is fucking tired of his shit.
Yeah, there are times,
for example, would be a great time.
Nate Davis.
It's not a one-time fit all thing. And again, I am certainly on team Tyreek has basically sucked this year. Tyreek could probably use a little time to think about what he's done and how he's been playing. And we have the luxury of that because we have not one, but two capable backup outside corners. But yeah, I don't want to bench. I'm not in favor of making my favorite team worse. Like
I would be fine
in the name of accountability. Like I don't care.
In the name of accountability, no. I would be fine giving Terrell Smith some reps because I do think Tyreek Stevenson has had a pretty bad season, and I would like to see what we have in Terrell Smith.
I'd like to see if and the Hail Mary is kind of a part of it. I'll say that, but because he did such a bad job on it. He played football badly on that play, as he's done often on other plays.
Now, the other thing too is I don't want to say of course I want to just back this up. Of course, I'm not saying never throw a guy under the bus in public. Nate Davis is a good example of when you do. When a player has started to lose trust in the locker room itself, right? Like Nate Davis has, where the guys are not behind him as much. Go ahead. Where the guys are not.
I'm not confident that a specific is really the way to go here. We don't actually know if Nate Davis is the guy to do. Maybe they all love Nate Davis. Who knows?
When he's done enough that the players understand that it's time that he needs to get called out a little bit. Nate Davis has done enough to players, I think, understand that he probably needed to be called out a little bit. That's when you got to call him out. Maybe it's not always when the players do, but it is like, hey, there is a history of issues that if I do this, the players understand that there's a history of this. Does that make sense? You're away from the thing as I asked you.
I mean, I agree with the overall point. I don't agree with naming a specific in this case because I truly like. I feel like after all this, someone's going to come out.
He got called out.
Someone's going to come up about Nate Davis. I'm reminded of. I keep going cross sport here, but Brian Bickle got so much hate for 3 years, and then it turned out he had MS.
Right.
I don't know
Nate
what's
Davis
going on with Nate Davis. I wish Nate Davis were not on the team. I don't know what's going on, really.
He also did get called out, so I assume that they would know if he has MS before calling him out.
That's a very tough diagnosis.
That's true. Actually, you know what? They didn't know that Bickle had it, did they? Yeah, maybe. You're right. Fair. We'll not call it specific names.
I'm not saying it in the interest of making sure that we're being responsible. I'm more so just saying like
we don't know.
I struggle to think of a time like I'm more for like a giant like an Antonio Brown, like a genuine piece of shit that needs to get called out.
Yep.
That's if Kevin Stefanski would have Jimmy Haslam's permission to call out Deshaun Watson pre-Achilles injury, that would have galvanized the locker room.
Yeah,
probably.
That's fair.
I just don't know it. I don't know it, Nate. It's confusing.
Before we move past this game, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Did we touch everything? I think we touched on everything. I can't
believe that we've talked about it for so long, and it's not often that you hear a podcast host say, like, I actually like this, but I gotta say, I kind of like this discussion. I think we did a good job.
We've had a lot of energy. It's good. Let's talk a little bit about the Cardinals. I wonder how much I can cash out my bets right now because I think they're leading in the West. I wonder if I could cash those out. I should look later. But Cardinals were one of my sleeper teams. They're a lot of smart football people's sleeper team, but I just want to say I got to them first because I did it before they even drafted.
But you knew who they were gonna draft.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I did it before. I think I was as my
You
bets
love
were
to
in.
claim. You love to claim your W's. I know Jill's gonna watch this and she's gonna say, "There's Adam claiming a W." So you know
Yo,
what?
I am
The
claiming a W.
fans love when you claim your W's. So I'm
I
gonna let you have
also
this
call I
W.
call it my L's sometimes. Do I not?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I make sure to call it my L's. But I do love claiming my W's. You know why? Because I don't claim my W's. Who's going to? And then nobody
Me if I
knows.
remember them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or me
Anyway,
if I agree they're a W.
what was I saying? But anyway, uh, all that said, I think the reason why I like those is Monty Ossenfort. I think he's done a great job over there as their GM of being like, yo, we've just got a bunch of crap. Let's just go out and get as many picks as possible. Let's do a good job of rebuilding this roster. And then also, why am I blanking on their head coach? And their defense is fun. They have a fun defense. It's bad, but it's
It's
fun.
extremely bad. I say this every week. It is extremely bad.
Yep.
It is run by a smart man. I think a smart man. John
The
Gannon.
Yeah, Gannon, thank you. The big thing there, and it was a lot the same last year too, and they still need some time to rebuild the defense. They've been working on a little bit on the offense, right? The thing there is they don't have any players. Like their defense just has absolutely nothing. So they do some fun things, they do a lot of wrinkles. It's probably Caleb might see some stuff that he hasn't seen before when they go up against them. But
Yeah.
there's nobody. They just don't have the player. They have no names at all. This is the Bears 2021, 22 defense, 2022 defense, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I am hoping for a nice bounce back from Caleb in the offense. It should look similar. They're a little bit better than I would want to say the Jags are, but it should look similar to the game that we had. Maybe, yeah, probably that we had against the Jags.
I think
Or the
in
Rams.
terms of
Actually, it should look similar to the game against the Rams, is how I should say it.
in terms of shell tendency, Rams and maybe Colts.
Yeah.
I think is probably the closest. The Cardinals. The Cardinals are going 3 most often. I mean, they're trying to run what the Eagles ran when Gannon was their defensive coordinator, which is a lot of kind of press 3, off 3, whatever. But 3. And they are trying to send waves of pass rushers, much like the Eagles do. They just don't quite have the horses, but the horses are. Again, I'm with you in that I think I can name fewer Cardinals players than any other team in the league. So I don't want to pretend like I'm super authoritative on this.
I think I'm more set Panthers.
I could still probably name about 40 Cardinals. So okay. I'm okay. I'll do okay there. Anytime point is I certainly don't watch them very often. When I see it, I think his name is Dennis Gardeck. He's a pass rusher. That dude is making plays. He is. I hate to do this. It's almost certainly because he's just a white guy. He's a little Andrew Van Ginkel-y. He's doing stuff. He's doing stuff, and I'd like to make sure we block him. Zaven Collins, their first round pick.
Yep.
I think maybe the last of the Kime era. Doing a pretty good job this year as an edge rusher as well.
Yeah, they converted him from.
I liked him as a.
They've had a lot.
He reminded me of Hassan Reddick in that
he was a linebacker.
They're the same. It seems like just body type, and I thought this a little about Terrell Edmonds, or Tremaine Edmonds. Sorry, weirdly enough, is I was like, I can see a world that guy's just an edge rusher.
I was setting you up to be like, so was Hassan Reddick. So, which I believe the Cardinals drafted as well. Am I wrong? And then he got sent to the Phillies, and the Phillies realized,
no, you are not wrong. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah. And then they converted him to an edge rusher, and then they did Zaven Collins, and this time they actually realized, like 3 years into his career, hey, you know what? They did that with this guy. Maybe we should do that too. And now he's doing well. I I didn't like him much as a linebacker when he was coming out, but I only evaluated him as a linebacker. And I probably would be proven right on that since it's a first-round pick linebacker. He looked like shit as an off-ball linebacker.
He doesn't play there anymore, but now he plays a much more valuable position, and he's doing a good job of it.
Yep, I agree.
And they have all sorts of different guys. They have Xavier Thomas. They have they have one more name. That dude out of Duke, the DeMcKeJ guy, and I think they even have one more.
Don't they have Buddha?
I'm just talking pass rushers, and then interior they got Roy Lopez, they got Devin Stills, they got LJ Collier, and they have two former friends of ours, Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones. They really rotate their defensive linemen. None of them are like good.
You might as well keep them fresh.
They rotate them.
They're about the same level, so keep them fresh.
Yeah, I mean, on the back end, the only guy to like truly worry about is Budda Baker. He's and I feel like Brian Branch in Detroit is like a good comparison if for like people that like know more about the Lions than the Cardinals, in that he's just like a little guy who just finds his way around the ball.
Yep.
He's instinctive. I desperately wanted the Bears to draft him his draft year. I think that might have been the same year we took Jalen Johnson. So I guess it worked out for the best.
Yeah, I can't remember what draft class he was in. We went JJ Komet though. If it's
I think he was Eddie Jackson's draft year.
I was gonna say he was before that. Yeah, that year I think because I was gonna say I remember the people who were on the board that year that I wanted, like Del Pitt and stuff like that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it was Eddie Jackson. Baker's the only real like. In fact, on the entire defense, he's the only like actual weapon. They have a few corners. I want to look up Sterling Thomas's grade last week because anecdotally, just watching the game, it seemed like he was covering Tyreek Hill pretty well last week. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how. I'm seeing his season grade right now is a 56, 86 out of 110 cornerbacks. But it seemed like he played really well last week. So I'm not really sure. I kind of liked him as a sleeper. I think this is his second year out of UAB. All this to say, they rotate a lot of guys. They do a lot of different stuff, but they're sitting in cover 3. And their results, they're like 30th or 31st in EPA against. So, like, they stink. I think Rams and Colts are the two best comps for the type of thing that we'll see out of them.
I had to think about it. I think the Rams game it'll be similar to the Rams game in which Caleb's going to need to see what he's seeing, if that makes sense, and then I'll start to produce. We might have a slower start again.
So, in order to see what he's seeing, he might need some good pass protection.
Who's playing? Larry Borum even off IR yet? He's practicing.
I think Borum's playing left tackle.
He's been practicing, but they haven't designated him for return.
But I don't unless I'm totally incorrect. I think you can do that.
No, they can.
11:59 or what?
They can.
3:00 game. I think you can do that at
but why wait?
3:14 p.m. I guess.
What I'm trying to, I know they can do that, but why wait? Like, what is going on with him that he can't?
Because Braxton and Kyron, I believe, are out.
They are out. So why wait? Like, why not just do it now? Is there like a roster? There might be a roster reason.
Oh, certainly roster reason.
It better be a roster reason.
Is reason A. Well, okay. Now
is he hurt? No, is he still hurt a little bit? That's what scares me.
That could be.
That's what scares me. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Reason 1 is roster reason.
Yeah. If he's still hurt.
Well, no. Actually, no. I'm sorry. That's why he has not already been activated. Designated? No idea. You don't have to make a roster if a designated guy to return.
All right, I don't know if he was designated yet or if it's. I don't think he's been designated to return yet. I know that. Wow, Ryan Bates has been designated for a return. I can't remember if he has been, and that if he hasn't, that's even more troubling. But yeah, no. When I say better be a roster reason, what I'm trying to say is I'm really worried he's still injured, and if he is,
wait, you can't practice if you haven't been designated to return.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
All right, then he says.
Let's get off this. Neither of us knows what we're talking about. I think Borum's going to play left tackle in this game.
He's still on the IR though. It's weird.
Jenkins is hurt. don't think Bates is going to be back in time.
Murray's on IR.
Bill Murray went on IR.
Yep. Peck.
So what the fuck is our offensive line?
I don't know.
Let's say, what is it in the worst case scenario?
I don't know. Worst case scenario, who's that left tackle? Who do we have left at tackle? I don't know, dude.
That I know. That one I know. The worst case scenario is Matt Pryor plays left tackle.
Okay, but then who plays that card?
Nate Davis.
Right.
And unless I'm totally forgetting somebody, a practice squad call-up. The Canadian guy. I don't know. Theo Benedette. Like, I don't think we're going to get the worst case scenario. I think Bourne's going to play left tackle, and that's not a very good scenario either. But I think that's in play still.
Yeah. God, that's bright. Do you see how bright my face just got?
Yeah, look at you. You look so pretty.
I went to my top monitor, just went to chicagobears.com because I was going to look up their roster.
The temp chart.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally wearing bronzer actually right now. Trying to,
You're so
channel
European
in my
now.
I was in Europe. I'm trying to channel my Trump energy. Not trying to make any political statements, but please, for the love of God, think about democracy before you vote.
You know what? Regardless of where you stand politically, you got to admit Trump has a bit of a golden hue to his skin.
Oh yeah,
I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Cancel
you
me.
mean
Cancel
golden
me.
hue? Golden hue, or do you mean he's caked up and shit? Coked
up.
Anyway, he's got caked his face up.
I know. I changed it to coked. I changed it to coked, but I know it's just actually Adderall.
Oh, yeah. No, he's probably doing coke too. Where were we? Anyway, I have no idea who's walking. So, let's say. So
that one I'm okay with.
Pryor at left.
That's my favorite thing about President Trump.
Doing coke?
All the coke.
Yeah, probably. Pryor at left. I want to move off this topic because I can't. You saw my rant. You saw my political rant the other day.
No, it depressed me, so I actually only read half of it.
Good. I was worried. I was worried that I did that.
Adam. Doug Kramer plays guard.
Right.
In the worst case scenario.
Oh God.
And then we don't have a fullback.
No.
What are we gonna do on 4th and goal from the 1?
Oh, if only we had one other guy in another position that typically plays fullbacks for a lot of teams.
We have Jake Curran. Not that this is a great thing, but we actually still have Jake Curran on the practice squad, and he's probably gonna be called up for one of his 3, regardless of what happens. So I don't know.
How did we lose so many offensive linemen in that damn game, dude? How? I
didn't even notice it happening. Besides Braxton, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I saw Tev and I saw Murray.
Again, drunk, and also getting there. These are higher ABV than what I usually drink.
Oh, which also reminds me, I'm sorry. You guys can't give Poles shit for the offensive line if it plays like crap after Brax goes out and all of a sudden we're like down like 5 guys. Yeah, play like going back to the last game. It played like shit towards the middle of the end of that game, right? Towards the middle of that game, really. We were down several guys. Let's chill. And Karan Abangaji, to be fair to him, is a former Yale football player. He was drafted to be a developmental piece.
Yeah, I do think I think the criticism there is a little unfair because Kyron. I think Kyron
he got his ass kicked.
I think he was badly. Worse than I expected, even knowing his profile.
And we were fine up until that point. We were okay. I'm not trying to say we're good. We were okay on the offensive line in that game up until that point. And he got his ass handed to him. So let's back off the offensive line. That is an unfair situation.
The plan of drafting Kyron, I'm taking a couple liberties there, but I'm pretty confident. The plan was, let's see if he can be our swing tackle. Hell, let's see if he's so good that he can even beat Braxton out. Who knows?
Maybe in a few years. I don't think the plan was this year ever. But go on.
I guarantee the plan was let's even see who knows. Like, just
Sure,
by
fine.
default, that's the plan of every draft.
That's always the
pick.
plan with everything. Yes, fair, fine.
But the plan was, let's see if he can be our third. The answer was no. That's why Larry Borum is still on the roster.
Yep.
He's hurt. It was still a worthwhile draft pick, and that's the guy who had to come in. Now, in hindsight, would I have preferred Matt Pryor just played left tackle and Nate Davis coming to guard? Because, again, Nate Davis is bad. He ain't that bad.
Yep.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Without a doubt, that is what they should have done. Yep. But here we are.
So we have Pryor. We have Kramer. We have Shelton. Then we would have, why am I blanking on our boy's name? And finally,
Nate Davis and Darnell Wright holding down right tackle.
Would it be Davis at this point? We're down to Nate Davis. Yeah, we'd be down to Nate Davis, and then Darnell Wright.
We've already got Doug Kramer, and of course we're down to Nate Davis.
Yeah.
I do wonder, actually, and this is really getting into the unnecessary weeds almost.
Right, because Matt Pryor's at left tackle.
Would Coran maybe actually just start instead of Kramer? Like, he probably is a better offensive lineman.
Coran is out, isn't he?
No, Jack Coran.
Oh,
the guy who will be called up off the practice squad. Maybe he actually starts at guard in that scenario, or maybe Pryor stays a guard and Coran plays left. I can't think about that. That's depressing, but that is where we are. So, luckily,
let's hope Borum plays. Let's hope Borum plays, because then you get Borum, you get Borum, and you kick out what's it called? Because at that point you bring Pryor back in, you've got Shelton, and then etc. Maybe
imagine Sunday at 2 p.m. when the inactives are released and Larry Borum is not one of them, like feeling like a little kid at Christmas. Like, yes, Larry Borum is going to play tackle for the Bears.
What if it's Larry Borum? No, but imagine the feeling though. It's Larry Borum and it's Ryan Bates. Oh boy.
Now, Bates, I don't have a lot of confidence in, but
I would be stoked though. Come on, considering
I'm underinformed. I'm always underinformed on injury stuff throughout the week. It's like the last thing I remember to check.
Yeah, that's fair. He got designated for return recently, but
feels like he's a little bit away still.
He might be.
To me,
we need him back. I think so.
Both. Oh boy.
I like a little child. I love it. Then I would probably feel like a kid on Christmas. Just Borum, I'd be like, okay, cool. I think we're not going to die. Yeah, so that's going to be an issue.
But here's the thing. Larry Borum coming off an injury and is Larry Borum. We probably still will die.
Oh, it'll be bad. I don't expect good things, but it's not going to be Karan Abagaji getting decimated literally. I think there was like 4 plays in a row where he just gets absolutely beat.
I can't believe how bad it was. I really can't. I thought he would at least win some, right? He didn't.
Yeah.
That was like a 100 or a 0% pass rush win rate. Wouldn't shock me.
There's a certain Twitter handle I want to just call out. Just another year, Chicago Bears. I feel bad because I found out he's like a kid. So like I'm like, oh, he's like 18 or something like that. And he does a really good job for being an 18-year-old. Good shit for being able to run the stuff you do. But he just sits there and he just does like, he's one of those accounts that like every time you get a draft pick, he's elite. He's great. Oh, the Bears got a steal in the NFL draft. Yeah, Karan Abagaji is going to be one of the best players ever. I wonder how he felt watching him get absolutely dog walked. I wonder. I'm not trying to say Karan's going to be bad. Like, he's a developmental pick, and maybe for once in our lives, we need to just sit back and be like, before you tweet that shit out to a whole bunch of fans, if you want to talk about the Bears, maybe try to educate yourself a little bit.
I don't know what you're talking about, but in my experience, an 18-year-old never has any idea if any offensive lineman is good. And maybe that's just because of my lived experience in football. But like,
that's fair.
I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at left tackle.
I'm more so mean you see a guy out of Yale.
I like how this guy was mocked in the second round of some drafts. This is a steal. I think that's where that guy was probably coming from.
I hear you. But it's also like, maybe back up and be like, there's a developmental pick, guys. He's out of Yale. Like, let's think about it a little bit. He's out of Yale.
So what we end up with here is, so here's the thing. I had a smart thought like this on the last one that I'll release later. And here's another one that just occurs to me. So in this scenario, So the Cardinals are really bad at covering tight ends.
Hmm.
That's something I know.
Hmm.
In
I
this
call.
unfortunate scenario, how often can we send our tight end out
You run scat.
on
You're fine.
routes?
I'm not worried about. So I'd be running more quick game, right?
Yeah,
Quick
but
game.
that gets bottled up pretty quickly, and you
Yeah,
can't
I
do that
know,
all
but
game.
right, I hear you. But even then, you can still run down the seam with like scat protection. It doesn't take long to get down the seam 10 yards. I'm not worried about that. Like, it depends on what we're talking about with our tight end. If you want to run some more heavier play action pass plays where the tight end gets out, then you just have running back stick in. I'm
Well,
not like
okay. I want to back up just a second here. So the reason that tight ends do so well against the Cardinals are not because they can't run down the seam with the tight end or look at him on a check and release. Like, the point would be that you'd want Cole to be running some real routes, and that's going to be a little difficult.
I don't believe it. I'm sorry. Chip help doesn't do as much. I think fans think. I don't think you lose the ability to send him out on routes because you chip help so bad.
I don't actually disagree, because at the same time, like, the wisdom is we need more blocking. Let's keep a guy in. Well, what
It
is that
actually can
guy
be
doing?
smart.
He finds himself looking for work half the time.
Yeah,
They're
and
not
it's a big one.
sending that many guys. You're not like doubling your strength by, like, it doesn't really
Yeah,
work that way. I'm with you for sure.
yeah.
Coaches do still usually keep the guy in more often than you'd like.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's going to be a little more difficult to take advantage of that weakness in their defense.
Yeah, and I'll say this, like, so when Bears fans are like, "Where's all the chip help for Kuranamagaji?" Sometimes chip help can actually be more dangerous if you haven't worked with your players before, because what you end up doing is you chip the guy right inside and he gets beat if he's not expecting it. You chip the guy in a way that Kuranamagaji isn't ready for, and now all of a sudden he's got his hands on him and no longer does. Like sometimes you can throw the block off a little bit.
I'm curious about our now injured left tackle out of Yale. Have you heard his name said recently? You're saying that with
So
such confidence that I can't believe it.
Kuranamagaji, yeah,
Yeah,
I listen to podcasts, so
I say Kyron. It's Karan.
it's Kuranamagaji. I could not say that name months ago, though. So like, I am saying you now that you bring it up, I am saying it very confidently.
I at first I thought it was. We talked about this on the pod. I thought it was a mega DJ, because that's how it looks. Well, no.
It's right, right. It does look like that, but when you say it like that, it's so funny.
That's like when you break it down. It's the mnemonic that you use to remember how to spell it, how to say it close enough. And I still have to use that mnemonic to even get to the pronunciation of Angaje. Because at least I remember the order that the words come in, or that the order that the letters are in. That you were, I mean, the podcast thing kind of explains it, I guess.
Yep, I hear it all the time. I've listened to a few podcasts. I
Because
don't.
you're doing it better. You're doing it better than me, and that usually that's rare, frankly.
No, that's incredibly rare. So I obviously that I listen to Hogan Johns.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off. I just found out neither Hogue nor Johns are beat writers. They're just writers.
Johns is on the beat. No, Hogue switched because he's with CHGO now, so I wouldn't consider him a beat writer anymore.
So I can make fun of that guy all I want for how bad at knowing about football he is.
He's been fine. You're so mean to him, man. He's fine.
I wouldn't know. I don't pay attention to him.
I know.
I know at a time he sucked. I would think that if he's got a new job that requires him to know a little bit more ball, I certainly hope he's learned a little more ball. And I already forget which of the two I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's on C. So that's the other thing is I will
listen
to CHGO every
Hogue, because
Hogue is on
CHGO. I'm Team Hogue on that one. I'm Team Hogue on that one. I would love to say something fucking dickhead to that. What's his face? Anyway, all I have to say. Oh, sorry, I interrupted a point.
We've gone so many different ways. It's fine.
Honestly, we are talking about the Bears offense versus the Cardinals defense. Still, we're actually still somewhat structured.
Well, let's move on. Let's finish up. Let's wrap up, and then let's move on because I don't know where we're at.
All that
we're talking tight ends. That's right. We're talking.
All that to say, yes. All that to say, and that's one symptom of it. I think every single one of our receivers can be every single one of their corners. I'm worried about lurking Buddha a little bit, but Caleb errs on the side of gun shy these days, so I'm not super concerned about that.
Oh,
at
I am
least
concerned
about turnovers.
Yeah,
No. I'm saying
I am
I'm
concerned
not
about the
concerned
gun
about.
shyness.
I'm not concerned about the turnover aspect of
I hear
what
you.
Buddha can do. What I am concerned is I don't know what we can run. I don't know what it is besides another hope mostly that DeAndre Swift does stuff game. I'm not really sure what our offense can be with the offensive line this messed up. And again, if I hadn't just seen it against Washington, I might be a little more optimistic, but I just saw how badly they struggled with the slightest chink in the armor offensive line wise, and now we've got more problems. God, I hope Tev plays. He hasn't been ruled out. I don't know. I am worried about this whole thing. I think Caleb might be in for another rough one. And again, this defense it truly is bad. But there's only so much that the offensive line can take.
So unlike some of the other teams where people are like, oh well, the defense sucks, they don't have a pass rush. Some of the defenses that we have faced that have sucked have decent pass rushes, or they at least know how to dial up something. The one nice thing is the Cardinals, outside of like Stephen Collins, really does not have much of a pass rush, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah, I should actually say I compliment a few of their edge rushers because they're like good. Interesting guys. But calling their best pass rusher Andrew Van Ginkel-ish is not.
No. Yeah,
good.
just to clarify that.
They're a brutal pass rushing team.
Yeah.
I fear that we've taken the thing that they're worst at and we're going to make it look fine because of how bad at stopping it we are.
So this is where my point kind of comes in is my hope is if this is true, what ends up happening is because their secondary isn't very good either, right? What ends up happening is we make it look like a decent NFL pass rush. You have a bad offensive line against a bad pass rush. It looks like a decent pass rush team and a decent offensive line. That is my hope. But we are so broken down that if we don't get at least one or two of the guys that we're hoping to get starting, it's going to be real bad. And that is not good. Like you go from having guys who probably shouldn't even be starting playing, going up against guys who are like, second stringers, like rotation pieces on the other side of the line, one starter probably on their defensive line.
It's totally on the table that a guy currently on our practice squad ends up playing in this game.
Yep. And that's where it starts to become an issue.
And even if it's not worst case scenario to start the game, it might end up there.
Yeah. And that's the issue. So it could get real bad. But I think we're taking too much time talking about it when I don't think that they have the horses to truly make it bad. They have the horses just to make it look like it's a game.
I think we will entirely dictate it, and I'm saying I think we're going to screw this up. Honestly,
we
they don't have the horses, but we are the ones who are going to dictate how this goes for our offense. And I think
I really wish
I'm really worried we're going to screw it up.
I really wish this was the end of the podcast so I could say, just like we started the podcast, whenever you think something is going to happen, it never happens because as we're talking about,
that would have been really nice to wrap it up.
That would have been really damn nice. And we can't.
Unfortunately, we got to talk about our defense against their offense. And I got to say, as much as you talked shit about our defense against the Commanders, you didn't talk shit, but you
can't stop the run. We can't. The quarterback run scares me, especially with Kyler. That's the issue. The quarterback run scares me, especially with Kyler.
So I think Jaden Daniels is a better runner than Kyler Murray. And how many?
I think Kyler Murray is a better thrower on the run than Jaden Daniels.
Oh, I think almost. I'm going to get into my. I'm not going to get into my shit with Jaden Daniels. I was going to say something snarky.
He did look good.
Of course, Kyler Murray is better at throwing on the run than Jaden Daniels.
Right, and that's
also
where...
so is this guy. There's like fucking 40 guys in the NFL who are better throwing on the run.
He had some good throws. I don't understand anybody saying Jaden Daniels had a great game as a thrower. As a runner, oh god, it was fantastic. As a thrower,
no, I was talking to my friend who doesn't know ball, and I was like, all we got to do is this: let him throw that pass. I promise you, it'll be incomplete. I looked like Nostradamus during that game. When the Bears did what I say they should do, made Jaden throw the ball, he could not throw the ball. I am wrong about Jaden Daniels. I want to be clear.
I am too.
I admitted this on the show with Jill, and that's why I want to put it up still. I am wrong. I am not wrong that he is not a very talented thrower of the ball.
No.
I think a
He can throw
Jalen
them deep
Hurts.
balls though.
I think a Jalen Hurts-esque career arc is reasonable to say. That's all. It might get it might be way better, but I don't think I'd be crazy to say that he might end up in the same spot as Jalen Hurts. That's what I'm gonna say about him.
Back to Kyler. Kyler's arm talented. Kyler's got more arm talent.
Yeah. So the Cardinals fans, for how many there are, they seem to have turned on Drew Petzing, their offensive coordinator, a bit. And I think the biggest issue is his failure to move Marvin Harrison around and scheme up targets.
Is that like an Arizona issue? Because Cliff had the same problems.
Right. So I don't think it's necessary that
he's
been glued to one side like Cliff does, but I'm also not positive about that. What I know is Marv, they're mad that I guess just simplify it into targeted. Sure. I guess simplify it a little less than that. He's not the primary read often enough.
Oh.
And, coverage can dictate what your primary read ends up being.
Yep.
But it does seem a little odd that he is clearly what we all thought he was. And he has 2 100-yard games so far.
Yeah, that's fair. I hope that they continue to do that because he's the type of wide receiver that it doesn't matter how confident I am in our defense, right? If he gets going and he develops into what I think he can be, he's the type of wide receiver that no matter how confident you are in your defense, he's going to change the game. He has the potential to be like a Justin Jefferson, like a CeeDee Lamb, et cetera, where it's like you let that guy go off, and CeeDee Lamb hasn't been as great this year, I don't think, but the Cowboys offense just hasn't. You let that guy go off, or you have that guy on your team, and it doesn't matter how good you are, he will still probably go off.
Yeah.
I don't think he's at that point now, so I hope they continue to not target him. And even if they do, I'm not that worried as bad, but
So more, I would say less famous, but I think more likely to be a thorn in our side in this game is going to be Trey McBride. I think Trey McBride credibly has a claim to being arguably the second best tight end in the NFL right now.
In this season, yeah.
Behind, you know who it is. Come on.
There have been a couple that have started playing. Mark Andrews has started playing really well recently.
Oh, come on. There's an incumbent.
Oh, are you talking about George Kittle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody's topping Kittle. I'm disrespecting Kelsey. I'm not disrespecting Kittle. Ain't nobody topping Kittle for another couple of years.
I knew you were going there, but so I wanted to start. You're talking about George Kittle, but then I was like, "Oh, stop." Kelsey's looked like he's lost a bit of a step, but it goes back to let's see what they look like in the playoffs because the Chiefs know that they're only playing. Yeah.
McBride is a shifty ass route runner. The tight end coverage responsibility in our defense is split up, and I don't recall many tight ends beating us, but I also don't recall playing any good tight ends. Have we played any good tight ends this year?
I think you're right. Hold on. I gotta look back at our schedule. I think you're right. I don't think we've played a single good tight end.
Ertz, whatever the Colts have, Colby Parkinson, Aronkwo, Dalton Schultz.
Oh, you're right.
We have not played a single. I don't think we played a single top 16 tight end.
No, wow, holy cow! We've played some really bad tight ends this year. So yeah, we'll see how that looks.
So Kyler practiced today, I believe.
Oh, hey.
Still, I could be a game time call. I don't think that says anything. Brisker, that is becoming concerning.
Talk about that.
A concussion should not make you this.
This is his third week he'll be missing, and we had a bye week. Second game he's missing. Third game? He didn't travel to London, so no. Third game.
This is
the third game with a bye week. Holy shit!
Oof.
So that's 4 weeks of being out on a concussion. So this is his third season in a row with a concussion too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this is concerning.
Yeah. I hope he's okay.
Hicks, I think Hicks has done a pretty good job, even though I should say, and I correctly said, I believe he is ultimately the biggest person to blame in the Hail Mary defense. I said that when I was drunk, and it was largely confirmed for me today, or earlier this week.
No, I still think Stevenson doesn't tip that ball up in the air after being freaking out because he was doing his thing. You don't even have to worry about Hicks. Yeah, sure.
I'll allow 40% to Stevenson, which is more than I want to. I'll allow 40.
I'll do 50-50. Will you meet me 50-50?
45. Final offer.
No, we're gonna go 52.
Just this is the rest of the episode. But here's another thing that I said to Jill on the podcast. The Commanders were the final boss for the defense, in my mind. They were the last type of thing the Bears were going to see that we hadn't already seen. The Cardinals are just kind of a worse version of that. Their quarterback can do, in my opinion, more, certainly with his arm, but it's the same type of thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm most worried about Kyler Murray's legs, and I'm most worried about him when he's allowed outside of the pocket.
Yep.
I'm not terrified of him beating us from the pocket unless Trey McBride starts beating us like a drum, which is on the table. I'm not going to predict that.
Yep.
I'm not going to doubt the Bears defense anymore. And what I had started to say was you shat on them a little bit for the bend don't break thing, and certainly some luck comes into play with the red zone stops.
What are the time
that they had
against
the Commanders
in that game that bothers me?
And I think they had a touchdown called back, right? The Commanders did.
They had two. No, they had one big play. They had one big play called back, and then one touchdown called back on screens.
So that right there, that is luck. That's not, obviously doing something
before anybody says,
"Oh, well, that benefits you," but it's kind of.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. That was a guy being 1 yard downfield extra benefiting because both of those were an eligible man downfield, and it was it caused me like an extra yard downfield.
Right, and that's when you run an RPO, you run that risk, and it probably hurt our defense to not know what the hell was going on because they had gotten so far into a run play already. So whatever.
Actually, it was a screen. It was like an extra yard. I think. I don't think it was an RPO specifically. It might have been a RPO bubble screen. I think one of them wasn't one of them a running back screen. Or am I off?
I had to ask you to confirm if a touchdown was called back. You think I remember this specifically?
That's fair. It might have been. They might have both been RPOs. I don't know.
Point being, it takes a large element of luck to be that good at red zone defense. Even though the Bears are very good at red zone defense and there's a lot of skill, it also takes a lot of luck. And case in point, touchdown called back, big play called back. That's lucky to some extent. But
you know what their difference is, though?
I still think they were mostly good.
Do you want to know what the difference is, though? You have better red zone targets with the Cardinals and a better thrower of the ball in the red zone with Kyler Murray than you do with Jaden Daniels. You have a guy who I think Kyler can still play with a little bit of timing, right? Jaden, you really got to play with timing pretty well. But also, Kyler can extend and throw and threaten like that, and you've got bigger bodies like Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., and those red zone targets those red zone threats make a huge difference. That if it goes anywhere similar, I don't expect our defense to hold them in the red zone the same way. With the
I guess for reasons I can't totally enunciate, maybe I don't think they're going to get to the red zone as often.
I don't think so either, to be clear. I think the Commanders' offense is a better offense. Yeah, I think the Commanders have a much better offense, and I think they won't. I don't think it's going to – if it does, but to your point, if it does play out similarly, I don't see us being able to stop them in the red zone. However, I agree with you now on that aspect of they're not going to get to it as often. Yeah, they probably won't. So I'm not like scared. When we get to our predictions, we'll get to our predictions.
Yeah.
But I still think that the Cardinals are going to score touchdowns if we play bend don't break that much. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. I'm mostly with you. I mean, I don't think we're going to really change the style that we play with, but I think mush rushing is important in this game as it was last game, and I think they did a good job of it. For the most part, I don't think I don't think they really got out of their lanes that often.
But their issue, there's rush lane integrity issues because they would spread their lanes a little too much. There's one time where I think that there
was one by design.
There's one by design. That's what I was about to say.
I'm just remembering this.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
There's some rush lane integrity. We didn't get into it because it's been 4 days, but remember I sent you the notes of what I wanted to talk about. Rush lane integrity was one of them. We can't have that. We can't be leaving massive ass gaps.
They
were so spread out. It was stupid. Like, what are you
like 9?
It's as if somebody told the defense he's not allowed to run unless he runs outside of you.
6.5, 9. It was insane. I couldn't believe that lineup, and I think it was on third down.
Yeah, right. And that bothered the hell out of me. It's as if somebody told the defense, "Oh, if he doesn't run outside of you guys, he can't run at all." And they're like, "Yeah, that's smart. Let's just make it as wide as possible." And you can't.
I'll say this because again, when you're drunk, you drift in and out. But I was looking for some good mush rushing, and I saw some good mush rushing. I'm gonna say that. I think Gervon Dexter did a really great job in mush rushing.
He's been great. He's been fantastic. I think
that's all he fucking did in college, so he better be good at mush rushing.
Yeah.
I trust us to keep Kyler in the pocket a good amount more.
I don't.
You don't?
No, because Kyler is a little bit more of a jitterbug. That's the only reason why. He's more slippery. I don't understand how Jay Daniels was able
to keep him in the pocket, but when he inevitably does get out of the pocket, I trust that worse things will happen.
All right, well, I don't expect us to get gashed as much on the run by him as we did with Jaden. But yeah, I would agree with that.
No. Cardinals, I should point this out. Very good running team. Not as good as the Commanders. Good running team. James Connors having another solid season. The threat of Kyler looms. Good team. Or decent team. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't, as you're walking away, I was about to say, I don't have much to add on the defensive side of the ball.
My fridge right there. I'm never far.
Oh, nice. I don't have that much to add on the defensive side of the ball. Outside of
their offensive sort of the burr.
Yeah. Outside of our pass rush needs to have a good game.
Yeah, and I guess the last point is Montez Sweat might be hurt. I feel like he's going to play, but
I think
I'm feeling it.
Yep,
that's just a feeling.
But their offensive, I should say, our pass rush. What I should say is our defensive line should be able to play well against their offensive line.
Yeah,
that's it. That's in the run game as well. I know they have a good run game, but our defensive line has done so well in other aspects. Maybe not so much in run defense, but considering who their offensive line is, I don't know. We'll see. Do you want to get into predictions? Because I'm at this point, I've got nothing else to add other than rambling.
I feel like this is going to be another one where I remember something smart too late, but yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we got.
So on the unreleased pod, I just said that I thought the Bears were going to win, and
you're the reason we lost.
I think the bar is a bigger deal, and I also decided that it's only jinxing it if I say it to Adam. I'm gonna say bet the under.
I would too, actually.
What
is the line?
I'm not positive that I genuinely believe this, but I think 16-13 is a reasonable final score to be predicting here. and I hope to be proven wildly wrong, but I'm really nervous about the offensive line. And I'm gonna say the Cardinals are the ones that and ultimately have the 16.
Mm-hmm. You don't have like another score that you were thinking about, but aren't going to make the prediction. But no.
16-13 is what I believe the final score is going to be.
Okay, cool. So the Chicago Bears.
But also, I genuinely, I'm really not being sly about this one. I'm a little worried.
Oh God, if it's gonna be that low scoring in our offense, this is gonna be such a bad week. And it's the election week. Oh man, I'm gonna hate myself. Hopefully Tuesday goes well. So my prediction.
He seems to be doing like Ohio seems like it's locked up for him. So I think our guy has a good chance at winning.
I hate you. I hate you for making that joke. Because I can't even laugh at that joke because the idea that fuck him. That's 4 swears. I've been really bad about my cusses today. 23-17 Chicago Bears. No, you know what? Yeah, 23-17 Chicago Bears. What was the over under at? Do you know what the line is?
I'm gonna guess it's like 46. I think I'm way.
I was gonna say. I didn't know what it was after I said I'm gonna take the under, and then I give the score, and I'm like, wait, I might not even be at it.
The first time that I guessed an over under on this pod, I friggin' nailed it. So I gotta check really quick and see if I got it again. I'm gonna go 46.
Do 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 do.
44 and a half. 44 and a half.
So close. So we're both under anyway. Cool. I got nothing else to add, man. I just really hope we get healthy. This is a really I mean, it sucks that we got so injured coming out of the bye. Like you would hope recover, and our guys who had got injured before the bye have not.
Well, you came back from Europe and you're all fucked up, so apparently that's what happens.
Shit happens. Anyway,
I gotta say, I'm sorry. I gotta point this out. Shoot. I wanted to say this to begin with.
Yes.
I never had a honeymoon because I got married during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it ironic that you went on your honeymoon and probably got COVID.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh God, that's so copy. How weird. It's almost as if they're related. Anyway, I'm Adam. That's Kevin. This has been Virginia's DMs.
Bye.